Record, and there we go. Teresa.
That would be me. Okay. Can you minimize your GoToMeeting?
Yes, I will.
Do I need to stand up? Just get up?
Yeah.
Okay. You want me near here for the microphone?
Exactly.
Okay. So I've got a few things today. Thank you all for using the OHS Pre-K portal during the last couple years. We're working to grow and expand the portal, and I don't know if Michael's going to be able to leap over to something else, but actually what I'll just tell you is if when you have an opportunity, you can go to the portal, scroll down to the bottom, and look at, this is a proposed format for doing the portal next year that's more visually appealing, we think, and also easier to manage. You going to go in there?
Sure, why not?
Woo!
There?
That's the start.
Yep.
You want me to drive it? Friends and families?
Yep.
Head Start Oregon Pre-K. OPK grantees. And do you have you have to scroll up? There you go. And who knows the password for the portal? Oregon Pre-K, all one word, no uppercase or lowercase.
So this is how it's been afore.
So you've been seeing all this, it's all words, it's not really, sometimes people click and submit through the wrong links and then I have to email you and it's just not okay. So this is a smaller version of what we're hoping to launch for the first of the year. Is that as far as up as you can get it? Make it big. Okay. And on there, this is kind of a partial, but there's where you would normally, and there we go, where you would normally click on the Dropbox, we have direct links. You can scroll up farther. So, and there's a link to the YouTube page. And if you scroll up farther, Michael, these are the forms you're used to having to click on a link to get to. You'll be able to fill them out live on the portal itself. And that way, whoever you have doing that will be able to, and it will still go straight into the same spot. The difference being that instead of going to a page, clicking on a link, you can go to the page and start directly entering your information. I'm hoping to have that for site and service workbooks as well, because we're going to, instead of issuing you each your own site and service workbook this year, we're going to load all the data in and then run reports by program instead, so that you guys can receive reports in real time, but you don't have to worry about where your particular portal is to enter data, which hopefully will make that easier, especially since what we're hoping to accomplish in the next year is to see, as there are program changes to classrooms or directors or things like that, you can easily get to that page to update that data.
This partially comes from wanting to figure out a more coherent system for you all. It also, honestly, when we have 28 site and service workbooks, we'll get a question like, how many Head Start teachers are there in Marion County? And to find that out is like, well, that's what you're doing that day, is going in and counting and like that. And so if it's all in one place, then we can run a filter and do it.
So that's in the old Excel workbooks. But this is the next step beyond the old Excel workbooks is what we're hoping to have this year. And we can also have reports set up that as information changes, we can create reports for each program that you can have links to, and that way you can see the backside of your information still the way you're used to being able to look at through the current portal.
And then this one here, which I've lost the ability to manipulate, but the monthly report will live there, but if we've got other weird stuff that happens quarterly or whatever, we'll just pop it right in there. So it's really just one place to go, one-stop shopping, open on Sundays.
Yeah, and prettier labels on everything.
Good.
So I'll go back to my next.
Please.
I like having you drive.
Yep.
Grant timeline. So I've gotten a couple questions about the timeline for the 2019-2020 grant cycle, and we're not everybody has their grant requests out yet, and so we're still working on the funding requests. However, the big document that needs to go to procurement so that when we have everything assembled, that's in procurement already.
Current service level.
That's,
right.
I was just about to say that.
Great,
Michael.
excellent.
We're working from current service level, which means the funding level that we have to distribute for this year, for this next year, is set as the same as last year until the legislature makes final progress on everything that they're working on this year. And at that point, having had a couple of conversations today, at that point, there's still some uncertainty as a timeline and distribution for any changes that the legislature decides to make. Because I think you probably all had a lot of updates. It's really not emergency funding, so it's not going to be the minute the session ends, everything is out there. So we'll have more information on that, and I know Michael, Lindsay, and Gwen will have more information on that as we learn more. But we are in the same situation we were 2 years ago, which is that even if the funding's not there and your grants can't get signed because the funding's not there yet because of legislative timelines, you will be able to backdate to July 1. So there's not a gap in your ability to bill even if we can't open up EGMs to do the claims right away. Monthly reports, I just showed you, or Michael just helped show you the new piece on that and how we're going to have you access it for next year. One other thing I just want to make you aware, I know not every program runs the same length, but we will have it open for June for those of you who have, who are serving on June 1st and have data to report June 1st. It's going to be not all the extra stuff that we add some months and not other months. It's just going to be that year-end wrap-up. Site and service workbooks, I touched on that, so that's helpful. I will actually be opening up the links for those by the end of May, so that if you want to start entering what you do know about next year, you can have a head start on that. I know you'll be doing year-end wrap-up, and it's still not due till August 30th, but you have an opportunity to work on it a little more as you can fill in time. The last thing I want to talk about is the ODE, OPK data collection, the student and the model data collections that are done through ODE every year. Those will be opening up no later than mid-June this year. So again, you can start having folks, if you have the data ready, you can upload it and get it in at that point. And that way, if there are any glitches in the system, we have a lot of time to iron those out. And it'll close mid-September. So you have, we didn't close it any earlier. We just opened it earlier to give everyone an opportunity to do it at the time of the summer that works best for them. And that's my part.
Great.
Is there anything? Yeah.
So for planning for staffing, we just need to plan on this current roll-up, which is really like.
For the moment, that's all we can tell you. That's all we know. Yeah.
So that's what we should do.
And we are trying to find out about whether we're going to end up dropping COLA in there, but we don't know. Probably not until right when we roll the grants out the door. So end of.
Do we know what the COLA is?
I was talking to our fiscal analyst, and that's what we're waiting on, is to find out if there is one and how much, and what we could potentially say might be. So we're a couple weeks away at least on that. Exactly. Right.
And then, is there an opportunity to duration, or we have to wait until the session ends?
We're getting, at the moment there's not, we're going to have to wait until session ends and see how the funding is being rolled out, because currently we're looking at funding that's going to be down the road. So we're definitely, but that's, again, that's a session question. We are trying to be prepared ourselves for A, B, and C on that front and get some things lined up.
Format and budget.
Just the site and service. The budget we're going to say.
So can we go in there and 2 minutes without having to get that any time?
Well, once I get them created, I'm going to ask actually a couple of programs to test them. The way I'm intending it to be and the way I know that it works internally you should be able to make some edits, but part of what we want to also be able to see are changes over time. So unless it's an error, we would request that instead of making an edit, you do a new entry, but if it's an error, we would want you to be able to edit that.
Just have one step.
Oh, so you want to edit the old data instead for this year?
No, not for this year, but I thought.
But I mean, take the old data and edit it, or just when you do it? Okay. Yeah. And if you have your,
Can you repeat that?
yeah, oh, you didn't, okay. So she was talking about being able to take the old data. Let me look at it because it's possible. I don't think we've changed any of the columns at all. It might be possible to go ahead and load it in and then run reports and have you guys do edits on those for your first passes. If that's possible, I'll take a look and see what I can do about that. Go ahead. Hey. Go ahead. I want to put some clarity on that. All we were asking for at that point, and absolutely we should probably work a little better, is to make sure you included your most recent one, and not that you should up the due date on your normal plan. Yeah. Right. Yes. So it's going to be old data. It's, well, we want you to be reflecting on this when you're doing your funding request and then to kind of show the relationship. Usually it's going to be, it's good to have it. It's good for us to review it again. But unless we have questions about what your request is, which is at this point in time, because we don't have anything with continuation, it's going to be flat. So unless we review it and go, wow, compared to last year, and you're requesting this, we want to ask a couple questions, not to do a new thing, but it's not everybody does get them to us at exactly the same time. So it's really an opportunity to just check in on that. And we can absolutely revisit the necessity of it. For this one, part of that is that we're asking separate documents for program option. Yes, Michael can speak to that one. The separate document for program option.
Right.
The necessity of. Go ahead.
Well, I think on the community assessment summary, we can down that path, or at least in my own plans, it's going to do a summary. What the community assessment tells us, what program options are working with the community. So having those separate documents, overkill.
So, you're right. No, it's good. So, the timing is weird, but here's our thinking, if you can call it that. You have to ask for some slots. So, asking of slots is a reflection of your assessment of what is the need in the community. So, we're saying, well, show us your most recent community assessment, which presumably is driving your slot request. And then we're addressing a problem which may be not intuitive to you, that we had folks request requesting slots where we couldn't tell, well, what's your model? So in the performance standards, it says, first, choose a program option. So what we decided to do is just say, and it could be a paragraph, we're using the center-based model, our number of hours. So that when you say separate document, I guess I want to encourage you to think of it as a little less grandiose than that. Just tell us what's your model and why. And if you can do that in a paragraph or two, that's all we need. We had some folks who sort of skipped that part, or maybe weren't even aware that there are other program options, and so on. And the performance standards have changed. So the combo option was no longer an option. So we wanted to kind of make you recognize in writing that you're choosing center base, and you can't just say, oh, it's just something that we had forever, a long time ago. So that's the exercise that we're inviting you to do, just to tell us what's the option you're choosing amongst these three.
Just take it out of the.
Sure.
Because honestly, there were programs who didn't include it as part of their assessment. That's great.
Perfect. Sold. Right.
I just feel like the state grants flyers just correct.
And a lot of it's because, a lot of that is now driven by procurement process. And it's worth sitting down and talking about what's working and what's not in that process, and figuring out what we can be doing to help get our procurement needs met and still keep you guys. So it's worth a visit. It's worth talking about.
So we do part of it is why. Why are you asking for it?
The one thing we could do, for example, next year, is we could say, when we say, here's where you turn in the assessment, maybe you just have a drop down. What program option are you choosing? Center base,
Yeah.
home base, something super cool I haven't thought of yet. So if that's easier, that's all we need to know. We just need to know that you're deliberately choosing something, right? We've always done it.
Over on that subject, are you also going to start allowing for electronic signature for these?
Oh, I love that question.
Because I've got several forms from the state that I would like to fill in.
Oh, yes. You're speaking my language.
It's what we want.
It's what we want. It's not us.
It's not us. It's what we want, and we keep pushing for it.
Submit
I know.
your information on this, and you go in there, and the forms there, it has to be signed. So you need to see that.
Well, and the hard part of the documents that also have to be signed by your board.
Right, that's right.
And that's-
Almost there, Mackenzie.
And we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
We're not there internally.
Not even internally. So when you guys make a claim,
We're right there with you.
take that document and have someone physically sign it. So that's what we're trying so hard.
And I would
We're
say,
there. We're your cheerleaders on that
I
one.
turned in my federal income tax. Signing something.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that there's no way to sign this. But so far, I have not been successful in that campaign within the state of Oregon.
And you have many champions in our office.
Many champions.
Many.
We are the champions.
Right. Yeah. We don't want that.
Okay.
So if you guys are ready, I'm going to yield the floor to our people who are reading so patiently on the phone.
Thanks, Marie. Thank you, everybody.
But email me if you think about it.
Yay, Teresa in person, everyone. Okay. Hi, it's Mackenzie and Alicia, almost in person. You want to introduce yourselves? And yeah. And then do you want to share your screen, or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, that would be great. Alicia and I both have some things to share, so it looks like at least I have the capability. So Alicia, I don't know if you are all up and running too.
I am.
Okay, great.
Who should be the presenter?
I can go ahead and start. I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Mackenzie Burton at Portland State University, and let me pull this up. And I am a part of the team that is in the Partnership for Preschool Improvement project. And I want to first of all thank everyone for those of you who completed the class info gathering survey that Michael and Lindsay helped us send out. We got some really good information about the type of class data that you guys are collecting and the supports that would be helpful when thinking about class that this project could help support. So want to say thank you for that, but go ahead and let Alicia introduce himself as well.
Thanks, Mackenzie. I am Alicia Meow, and I am a fellow at ELD, a fellow with the Society for Research in Child Development. And so I've been working on a few projects at ELD, getting to know folks at the division, and one of the projects that I'm helping with is this Partnership for Preschool Improvement.
Great. All right, I'm going to make your slides kind of as big as possible here. Mackenzie, go for it.
Awesome. So you guys can see this okay?
I think so.
Great. So I just wanted to kind of go through quickly the some of the information that Lindsay had emailed out earlier this week. Thank you. I don't know if Lindsay's in the room, but thank you to Lindsay for sending that out. And the email outlined a few of the things that we'll be doing through this project. So this is a multi-state, multi-year effort that's led by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Ounce of Prevention to help support continuous quality improvement of state-funded preschool programs. So our work has been to partner with Michael and Lindsay and the Preschool Promise folks at the Early Learning Division to think about the systems that are currently in place for state-funded preschool and how our research team can help support the wonderful work that you guys are doing. And part of that is what Alicia will be talking about in a minute is supporting a data system for the class data that's being collected locally that can help inform the continuous quality improvement, professional development opportunities, and various initiatives. And then we're also hoping to learn more about the process for local class reliability, inter-rater reliability paired observations that are happening with the class observations to learn about what folks' protocol is for that, and or we have a team of observers that we've actually got to go out to visit some of the OPK funded only sites. And those observers are also available to help support what Teachstone says is best practice in terms of having regular observations that are done with a couple of folks to see whether or not two people are seeing the same things in the classroom. As I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with those protocols. And another piece that we're doing is we are collecting a survey that asks about what professional development supports are currently in place for directors and teachers in OPK and Preschool Promise funded sites, and what additional supports would be helpful. So we're hoping to learn through those surveys this year, and are providing this this spring. So realizing that for some programs that's in the next month. And so we're also providing a $20 gift card for anybody who completes that survey, and it's available in English and Spanish. And so we'll, myself and Dina Chait, who's another research partner, will be reaching out to folks to start to get the contact information for directors to see if it's feasible to collect or invite folks to participate in that survey in the next month, and working to get the teachers' contact information as well. So we'll be following up to talk more about that. And yeah, I think that is a very quick overview of a lot of the work that we're doing. So I don't know if we'll have time for questions, because I know that you guys have some other things on the agenda that you're hoping to get to, and I'm going to hand it over to Alicia to talk about the different pieces that are involved in the class data system. But like I said, Dina and myself will be following up via email to connect individually with folks and can answer any questions about this particular project when. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and then hopefully, Alicia, you can take the screen.
Yeah, let me try that. Okay.
Great.
So let's see. So I've been working with Michael and Teresa on setting up a system at the division for collecting class data. And Teresa really helped with making this similar to what you have already seen before in terms of collection of data with Smartsheets. And so what I'll be doing is sending out an email to each of you for individualized Smartsheets. And it's going to contain, the email will contain some information about the process, what types of data are needed to be uploaded. It will also contain some documents detailing procedures about how to upload things to Smartsheets or how to enter data in, but you're all pretty familiar with that. And there will also be some information about, for those of you that might be using My Teachstone as a repository for your class data, there will be directions about how to download data from My Teachstone that can be then attached to the Smartsheet and uploaded. So what I'm showing you right now on my screen is the form that you will be linked to. And you'll see three.
Wider, Alicia.
Make it wider?
Yeah.
Let me try that. Does that help at all?
No, more like wider, fill in the screen kind of a thing.
Let me see. I'm not sure how to do that. How about that?
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, good. So you'll find 3 links. One will be a link to a form that's pretty short, and it has some required information at the top, and it will basically look a lot like what you see on the screen here. And then at the very bottom, there will be a place for you to upload your data. And so this will be, for those of you that use My Teachstone, it'll be the data that you may be downloading from My Teachstone. For those of you that have your own data management system, you can download Excel files or whatever data you might have and upload it and attach it here. And there will also be another link to this form, as well as the back end of this form, where you can enter the data directly into the grid or sheet. I wanted to show you this because it contains all of the fields to be entered. And so you'll notice that we have some information on classroom, teacher, observer, date of observation, start and end time, cycle number. These are all things that are typically collected for each cycle of your class observations. And then down at the bottom, you'll have the 10 different dimensions of the class. And so that's the level of information that we're wanting to collect, is the 10 dimensions for each cycle of each of your class observations. And so you can expect to see an email from me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now because that's all I had to show. You can expect to see an email from me tomorrow, and it will contain your links and, again, some of that other information. And for any follow-up questions that you might have, feel free to contact me if you run into any problems with the Smartsheets or any questions at all about anything else having to do with the class data. For a timeline, in terms of your fall data and uploading your fall data, the timeline on that, I'll send the email tomorrow. And then if you can work on getting that data uploaded to your Smartsheet or entered to your Smartsheet by the 10th. And then for spring or current class data collection by the end of May, that would be great. And I'm going to ask Mackenzie if she has anything else to share at this time.
Yeah, I think just a couple of things that I'd forgotten to mention. So part of the work that we'll be doing is to collect or to do an aggregate of all of the OPK class scores that we're collecting for the ELD, but we'll also be creating reports that are individual for each OPK grantee for whatever class data that you share with us. And then same for the director and teacher survey. So we'll be doing reports that are individual to OPK grantees for whatever director teacher surveys that we're able to collect. We'll be sharing that information back to you. Hopefully by end of July, August of this year. I think that was it. Thank you so much for giving us some time to talk, and we'll be in touch. So if there's any questions, we can field those over email, and I think we'll sign off and let you guys get to the rest of your meeting.
Thank you, Mackenzie and Alicia. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
It's a standing ovation here. Thank you both.
See ya.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Right. So we've done that. We don't do that. Lindsay.
All right. Who likes surveys? So I'm just going to stay where I'm at because I'm not going to take that much time. But I've been voluntold to send you guys a lot of surveys lately, and so I'm recognizing that I know that that's a lot of work and that it's not sometimes we're asking you to report on the same information because we have different people requesting it and so on. So I apologize and I recognize that that is taking a fair time. We are going to use the information, hopefully, for something beneficial for you guys eventually. So, so I just wanted to recognize that because we are going to be sending more surveys, things like that. So I had sent out the one yesterday, but prior to that, I sent the equity demographic data collection survey. And so I just wanted to make sure that everybody had got that and that everybody got the follow-up email with the demographic information for, use for helping, supporting filling this thing out. And then what?
Can I just say something? I mean, the good news is that your beloved preschool specialists, Michael and Lindsay, are actually trying to filter the number. We just got one yesterday, and ELD leadership in its wisdom said, let's get this survey out to people. And we said, hold up, we think about so we are trying to slow the roll of people are curious about you and want to know all about your teachers and how many 4-year-olds with 4 fingers you have who are using a pincer grasp in their 2nd year of Head Start with a teacher who's in their 3rd year who has a bachelor's degree and that kind of stuff. So anyway, we're on your team. It's just, yeah.
And if I can interject, there's a little bit of at fault here because we delayed in getting the equity survey out this year. So it is jamming up against everything else, and that's on us. So we will be endeavoring to have it out within the timeline we post on the portal from here forward.
I don't know why this is giving me. Okay, keep going, Lindsay. Sorry.
The equity demographic population grid, which shows the economically disadvantaged, there's 2, well, both in all 3 columns, there's 2 percentages. And I wasn't sure what those percentages stood for.
I'd have to look at it and find out our research person who provided the information.
Okay.
There might be headers missing, and if so, we'll get those out to you.
I was making a guess on what they meant. I think one is like economic.
Do you have it open?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, good too.
Which one, the equity demographic data race or special population?
Special population.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, which one? Okay, we'll give that to you. Because that's,
Yeah. Right, which number is which, right?
yeah. I mean, it's parts of a whole, so but which part is?
Yeah, they add up to 100%.
Right.
I can do that math.
But in some cases, they're so close, you really do want to be sure which column means
Yeah.
which. So, yes. Go for class.
Because you're busy doing the equity survey or because you're doing class observations on June 1st? Okay. So just send us a note and that's fine. I'm having a hard time getting my...
We did mention that to them when they said, hey, we're going to be collecting this data. I was saying, well, yeah, but you're collecting spring data in spring. They're not, they're not done. And so they said to send...
Well, there's an option to upload instead.
Yeah, so you can upload your...
So there's 3 options to enter for whatever works best for you.
Yeah.
If you have a report out of TeachDump, you can just upload the report.
You can upload physical copies of your whatever you recorded your
If you have an Excel, yeah. The data entry was there, especially for...
But it asked for, I was opposite to asking for a lot of specific data. So it isn't something that you can just secretly do. you have to have program demographics, you have to have all of the information very specific, so it takes quite a while.
So the best thing for us, so that we can buffer some of this stuff for you guys, I mean, we're not gonna be able to stop the information gathering. That's just kind of the nature of it. But if you let us know things like that, or that you're coming up against stuff, we can at least help to provide some understanding with our research partners on what the data collection really teaches to you guys, and try and at least support you in that way to stop the flow of yeah, I think, folks they're like, but we're trying to create this system for, new teachers for you guys. Give us the information. And they don't see all of the other things, right? So they have their focus and we have our focus. So trying to bridge that gap. And the more I know, I like those sort of things, and the more I can help to bridge that. For the class, they can upload physical copies, like if they just filled out a
scan, you can
form, yeah, you can just scan, if you have like a stack of class observations that your coach or your managers, whatever, I mean, you can scan that and just upload all of that, and they'll manually enter all of that stuff themselves. That was one of the things.
If you've uploaded it into Child Plus, you can just run the report and scan that and send it in.
And then you'll have a link to the back side so that you can see especially if they're entering your data, you'll be able to see what was entered, and then if there are questions or corrections that need to happen, that can happen. Plus, at that point, then you'll actually be able to download it in a spreadsheet format. So you'll have it as data.
We're trying to, like those things, when they say, we would like your program to upload or to fill out a form per class observation per classroom. We're like, okay, that's great for a really teeny tiny program, and that might take half an hour, but if you've got 30-something classrooms, that's going to take somebody a week, and you can't just create a week for people. So that's, that's the kind of thing that we're able to say to our research partners, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we have time, we can do data entry, let's figure out ways to make it easy. So the more that we know.
We told them none of the programs have a spare week except for Marine.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Thanks. She might be right.
So please just be in contact and continue to express, any frustration that comes up in regards to this kind of stuff. It'll help us to think about how to do it. That's all I've got.
Great.
I said one-time funds, how are they being used, but I also realized that we're just barely getting them to you guys. So
not everybody has them yet, so
yeah,
the grants are just turning around. The minute we get them back, the minute you guys get an executed copy of your grant agreement, within 24 hours, we're loading it in EDOMs and trying to get it through so you can claim the money.
because we know that we don't have a lot.
And it's a great training exercise because we have 2 new people working with me, and they're learning EDOMs this way. So.
Tony Orlando.
Yes, Tony and Orlando.
And Dawn. Hey, I've got some updates. Great. TS Gold update. We are moving forward on implementing their reduced item set. The good news is it will actually take away the items that are not part of the reduced item set. The bad news is that the advertising that you could add the items back in turned out to be fake news. But we're not actually worried about that, given how long you all have been asking for a smaller set, given that they've done the research to show that it's aligned with the child outcomes framework. We just need a communication plan this summer. As you may or may not know, because ELD is nice, we've offered the umbrella agreement, which is a cheaper deal to lots of people who are not publicly funded programs. Because it's a quality improvement thing, right? We want folks to use a tool, and as you know, the wide world of early learning, people use all kinds of things, back of a matchbook, everything, right? So we're saying use this tool and we'll give you a good deal. But we need to do some communicating with them to let them know, hey, if you're going to use our umbrella, we're going to use this smaller set. If you don't like it, that's fine. You can go out of our umbrella. It's twice as much outside of our umbrella, which is $1 per child per month more. So, you know, twice as much sounds scary, but $20 instead of $10 is, well, whatever. Anyway, so we've got a communication plan about that. And for you too, hey, this is coming up. Your list is going to be shorter. You may not have item number 36, the one that you loved and you wrote your master's project on. Anyway, okay, keep going. Good news, we have selected as of yesterday 25 participants and 3 alternates selected for the Ambitious Instruction course this summer at Summer Institute. Hoop-de-hoop. It's a great cohort. It's diverse programmatically. We have 6 preschool promise teachers. We have 5 teachers with blended funding, and the rest of them are Head Start teachers. So what a great group. It's geographic. It's folks from Eastern and south of Eugene and Portland and Willamette Valley, and we're working on getting out our communication to those folks soonly, like today or tomorrow. It's not a competitive grant. The group of 41 applicants, they were all amazing, great folks. So we really went with a diverse cohort. That was our intention, was to select a diverse cohort. As many times as possible, we selected sort of 2 from a program so that we could have a wide variety of, we have 15 different organizations, 16 different organizations participating. It's not perfect. It's just a pilot. Not everybody got to do it. Just because you're not doing it doesn't mean you're not amazing. It's just we wanted to get a diverse cohort. What's happening? So there's that. Stand by for that. We have relatively inexpensive housing lined up for people in Bend. There's a code for a hotel, so we're going to get you that information. We're holding those blocks of rooms until the 10th. This is a reimbursement grant, so you're going to front the cash for these folks to participate. You're going to do that, and then we're going to give you some money on the back end after they participate, after they're doing their amazing stuff at the course, and they'll persist in the online community of practice for a year to improve their practice. It's going to be great. So more on that later, but wahoo. Yeah. Oh, and there might be, especially if they have not had a class observation this year or recently, we may be able to squeeze in a class observation of the participating teacher this month, because we're trying to get that baseline, you know, where are we now and where are we going to be in a year? So stand by on that. Yeah. No, I have not said that. I said the opposite. We're going to be alerting them soonly, today or tomorrow. Yeah. So, and also we've drafted the course. So whoa, that was like awful. So they've drafted the course. They've given their draft to us. We're giving them loving feedback, as my wife says right before she gives it. She says everyone loves feedback. So yeah, so we're working hard on that part. We just heard about the class survey and the follow-up. Great. I wanted to give a little bit of information about the extended duration pilot, which is proceeding apace. So a little bit more about that. We have, as you know, we have a variety of folks participating, some in the very room. So what do we learn? Well, some of the things that are interesting, I think, is that we made progress. That is, class scores were better in winter compared to fall. Of course, people were older and wiser and more mature, so maybe that's part of it. But then also sort of interesting, morning tends to be better than the afternoon. So that's interesting. Wonder why that is. We do know that teachers are asking for more help, more ideas about what to do with afternoon time. We do know that kids are sleepy sometimes. We're curious about questions like, can this be, if you've got a lot of nappers, does that have an impact on your class score? In the context of not having enough extended duration, do we really want rooms of 15 people sleeping for 2.5 hours? Is that the best way to allocate extended duration slots? So we're wondering about that. We have lots to learn. people are using funds in different ways, so that's interesting. People have different funding, different staffing schemes. They have different ideas about floaters. So we're working on a extended duration playbook this summer, where we're going to lay out things like, well, here's different ways to staff extended duration. Here's different budgets that people have set up for extended duration. Here's different classroom routine schedule type things that people have for extended duration. So we want to give you some tools if you're getting into the extended duration game, or you're wanting to make your extended duration even better. Doesn't have to be bad to get better. We want to give you some resources around that. Yeah. Like I said, the grantees are looking for additional ways to support teachers. We've had 2 or 3 now online communities of practice for the extended duration teachers. So we're trying to get teachers talking to each other outside of class time. I know it's crazy. Across organization even, whoa, different regions. What are you doing? How do you handle when half the kids are asleep and half the kids want to throw blocks or whatever the right thing? They don't throw the blocks, they stack the blocks. They throw the beanbags. Okay, so yeah. So we are collecting final class observations for the participating classrooms this fall. We've got these community of practice. We have a survey of family and staff satisfaction. So we're curious, we think we know that parents like extended duration compared to part day. They probably wouldn't have signed themselves up for this if they didn't, but we also want to be able to document that and use that as we move forward in extended duration. And like I said, we're trying to figure out what is it that teachers tend to do that increases the way that they interact with the kid, the skill that they're interacting with kids. So, is that fourth circle really a good idea? What are the kinds of activities that tend to result in teachers using cool language and asking questions that they don't know the answer to, the things that we want them to do? So there's that. A little bit about extended duration there. Any questions on extended duration pilot? Great. Next steps, disseminate staff and family satisfaction surveys. So they told us that 2 weeks ago. I don't know, let me look into that. Soon, as I told the kids, soon. Soon is sometime between now and never. So soon, maybe happening right now. A little bit about our calendar. We're going to Seattle in May for PPI work with our partners at the Ounce. The program team is going to most of us are going to the Professional Learning Institute, which is in Long Beach. We'll be back with you all. I know, it's coming right up. It's a lot of time, Teacher Michael time, in Wilsonville. And then Summer Institute for the Ambitious Instruction course. We have other courses there if you haven't had a chance to sign up. We are paying for class observation training class, 2 days. We're paying for a, so you're relatively new to TS Golden Creative Curriculum 2-day class. So if you've got folks, and I honestly don't even know if there's slots left, so don't quote me on this, but if you've got folks that might be interested, wow, that was interesting. Feel free to have them sign up for Summer Institute. There's the flyer in Summer Institute. Yeah. No. Heckfire, no. There's Preschool Promise. There's generic early ed people, and so forth. Childcare providers. There's QIS specialists. I mean, it could be a pretty cool place to hang out, because by then maybe we'll actually know if the legislature, in its wisdom, is doing stuff, and then we'll be thinking about how are we going to how to implement all kind of cool stuff like more preschool promise and more extended duration and salaries and transportation, and oh, it's going to be awesome.
Ice cream?
Ice cream. I'm pretty sure there's ice cream. Any questions for me? Please. Yes, and our friends at Umatilla Moro pointed out that one of them is on a Saturday. One of them is on a weekend, like I was saying. So do we make it? Yeah, we make it Friday, the Friday before. So we need to fix that. When we release our guidance, which we will this summer, we'll change the checkpoints and. Okay. Okay. So I think TS Gold probably drafts them and then I need to adjust them. So by next Thursday at 10:17 in the morning, they will be adjusted. Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Did we post that on the Dropbox too?
The guidance? The guidance, yeah, but we haven't written the guidance yet. I love that question. Other questions? Especially if I know the answer. Hearing none. 2 minutes of grace time. Right back to you.
Woo. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Teresa. Thanks, Lindsay. Woo, I love a bunch of information. So we're about 2 minutes from, and thank you to Sean. I can give her a shout out because she's taking minutes of it. I think it's $100. So from